Welcome to the Alsco Uniforms It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Join us as we spend time with Alsco Chief Operating Officer Jim Kearns. I'm your host, Dana Craig. Let's get started. Good afternoon, Jim. How are you doing?
Good, Dana. How are you?
Doing okay. It's been a few weeks since we spoke, and I think a few weeks since you went on the trips that we're going to be talking about today. So we're in September now, coming in on the end of the year here, pretty hot on the heels of it. But your last set of branch visits, you went to Portland Linen, which is now a combination of Portland Linen and Portland Industrial. We can talk about that a little bit. And then up to Seattle, and then Vancouver or C.A.R.E, which is one of our newer facilities. So let's start in Portland and tell us what you saw and how your visit went there.
The visit was terrific in Portland. Gene has a great team there. I had been to Portland a couple of years ago, but the first time that I'd been to Portland since we moved the industrial plant into Portland. So I was very interested to see how that was going, and the plant looked terrific.
Yeah.
It looked like that industrial business had been in there for years and years and years, right? So the
and
integration
Gene Anderson, our general manager in Portland Linen, used to
Exactly.
be so he knew that business and certainly
so
knows that market inside
Yeah,
and
for
out.
sure. So that contributed to the success of the
Yeah.
integration. But the people there, I met several drivers that came over from the industrial plant, and they seemed to be very happy. Going out of the linen plant now. So. The plant looked great. It was a terrific visit.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about why doing a consolidation like that might be of interest to us. How does that kind of create some synergies or help us actually unlock something in a market?
Well, I think, and we talked about this during the visit. I mean, I think we have a more focused, sales presence now in that marketplace, where we had one branch selling just industrial and the other branch selling, linen and healthcare. Now, we have a very targeted approach in our markets where we can sell industrial, we can sell linen, we can sell healthcare, we can do it all. And so we're going to have a much more productive sales force in that marketplace today.
And I agree. They have a very solid, mature team there. And Gene, of course, has been around for a really long time and is a very creative operator and able to get.
And he's very, very energetic.
Yes, he is.
He's one of the most energetic GMs that we've got. So he's fun to be around. It's contagious.
Yes, it is.
His energy.
Yeah.
So.
Really a team builder. So it sounds like you had a little bit of a test there after.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that we were paying attention during the plant tour, and look, we were, but we first went out on the dock, and like I said, we got to meet a lot of the drivers, had some good discussions, and then we went back and went through a plant tour, and then at the end of our meeting, he gave us a test to make sure that we were all paying attention, and that's
Is that the key to get lunch, or just something he wanted to?
He just wanted to make sure that we were paying attention.
Good.
Apparently, he does this with other groups that he goes through the plant, and so first time that happened to me, I thought it was terrific. Not all of us got all the answers correct, but we had some fun debate about some of the things he was wanting to make sure that we left with, and so I thought that was important.
Good. So talk a little bit about their growth strategy there. I mean, obviously they've had a big injection just by consolidating the branches, but are they seeing some more organic growth as well in the market, or anticipate that?
They have a new regional sales manager there.
Right.
He's from outside the industry, but him and Gene seem to work very well together. They're starting to see some real stabilization in their sales team, and so we're starting to see some traction take place there.
Well, that's
so it's
exciting.
It's very exciting.
It'll be interesting to continue to watch as Gene does what Gene does.
Yeah, I mean, the one other thing, I mean, they're processing a lot of volume through there. They've had a significant reduction in downtime in their equipment, which has added to their productivity there. So they're running, a pretty efficient operation there. So
great.
that was good to see.
So from there you went on to Seattle. And Brian Solomon, a fairly new GM for us there. Is it been a year yet?
He was, yes, it's been probably a year.
Okay.
Probably.
So what kind of improvements or changes did you see feel good about the direction that's moving in?
Well, one of the reasons we wanted to go up to Seattle again is to make sure that they were well on their way on their growth journey. And unfortunately, the sales team and the service team has experienced a lot of turnover in the last year, but we look like we're well positioned to grow going forward. Last year I think I made the comment the plant looked fantastic and they were producing great quality. That's still the case. I mean, the plant looked fabulous. The quality is terrific. There's more volume in the plant this year than there was last year.
Okay.
But you hardly can tell it, right? I mean, they seem to handle it very well. And what was particularly impressive about this visit is they took on a couple new big accounts, and one of them is an iconic hotel in downtown Portland.
Seattle.
Or downtown Seattle, excuse me. It's called the Fairmont. We stayed there. It's a very nice.
Oh, you did? Good.
Yeah, we stayed there. Very nice hotel. But this is an interesting account. I mean, it's a large account for them. I was impressed how fast they've kind of gotten this account where it just flows through the plant like it's been there every day.
Is it COG or rental?
It's
Or
COG,
It is. Okay.
right? And so they're doing a great job. I mean, it took them a couple of months to get used to it, but they're doing a great job. What's very interesting about this account is that the general manager, the chief chef, a couple of the other top management team, after we installed the account, they came back to our plant, did a tour, met our people, and brought them breakfast. I've never heard this before. Yeah, and so a terrific story. I corresponded with the general manager there and thanked him for, that's a gesture that we don't see
Right.
that often. And
Well,
so
kind of, especially after the install, right?
after the
You'd
install,
think- yeah.
and he was thanking our employees for taking
wow.
good care of them, and so that went a long way with our people. I think they will go the extra mile to make sure that Fairmont is well taken care of. And look, I thought the linens looked terrific there. And it's
That's a nice
place.
marquee account for us, right
Right.
downtown, well-known hotel, so it's not, some fly-by-night thing that nobody knows about, which is really good to help us.
We also had dinner at a restaurant the night before at another account, another big iconic Italian restaurant in downtown. And so, I have to say, I don't recall ever going to Seattle and staying in one of our customers' hotels or
And
really
eating at
at one of their nice Italian restaurants. So that's Seattle is headed in the right direction. And as we were leaving, we just got news that we're signing up a really good target market account in healthcare in the clinic business. And so
good.
There's a lot of good things happening in Seattle.
So talk a little bit about any interactions you might have had with the RSRs. Did you have that opportunity in Seattle?
We did. We went out and talked to the RSRs, had good interaction with them. We had good interaction with the employees, on our plant tour. They're well positioned to continue to grow.
Well, that's good to hear. That Seattle market has been a bit of an enigma for us, I think, to crack. I'm curious what challenges Brian communicated to you and kind of how they're handling
Well,
that.
we have a new regional sales manager there. As I mentioned, we'd had turnover there. He is local. He lives in Seattle, so he understands the market, knows the people there, and he is building a very solid team there. So, we may have finally locked on to what it takes to be successful there.
Great.
We
I hope
believe
so.
we have a good team. Each one of them are going to have the capability to succeed there.
Yeah.
So
I've always thought very highly of Brian Solomon and his leadership and team building ability.
Yep.
So I want very much for them to
I think
succeed.
that they're on the right track for sure. You can see how we're dealing with this Fairmont account or this new business that we're putting on. We're doing some things right in Seattle. So I expect us to stay on track.
So do you think there'll be a three-peat? Do you think you'll go
Yep.
back and visit them next year?
We need to go. I need to make sure that it's sustainable, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, but I think next year it's going to be like going to Portland. We're going to be able to see a
Hopefully,
plant
right.
that's profitable, that's growing.
Kind
I
of
expect-
more mature in its
for
journey
sure.
and
Yep.
good, good. Maybe he'll give you a test after the,
Maybe.
take a page out of Gene's playbook. So you finished your visits then in Vancouver, another one that you've been to at this point several times since
Yep.
it's a fairly new facility, but I think a couple of times even just as these routine branch visits. So Vancouver, also lovingly called Surrey, since
Right,
that's
right.
actually the town on the outskirts of Vancouver that it operates in. Dan Barnettson is our general manager there. How was your visit?
I would have to say, of the visits I've done this year, this one ranks right up there at the top.
great.
It's exciting to see, when the company makes a big investment like we did in Surrey and then in this new facility, that we have a growing branch. We're doing so many things right in Surrey today,
Yeah.
so it's exciting to see. And look, I was up there a year ago, and on a branch visit like we're on today, and that wasn't necessarily the case, right? We had some areas where we needed to improve on. This year, these guys are really
They're off
hitting
to
it
the
out.
races. Yeah.
Boy, they're hitting it out of the park. So.
Yeah, and such a service-minded group, I think,
Yep.
from top to bottom, and it shows maybe even in how they're operating. So any RSR interactions there? You had an
Yeah,
opportunity
we had
to get on the dock?
we had a great dock visit there. All of the RSRs were present. So we were able to sit and talk with all of them.
Oh, great.
They all have a great attitude. They all look good in their uniforms. It's a nice team, right? We talked to one specific guy who was new to the company, and he was a young guy, but God, this guy had the right attitude. He had the right outlook. He's going to be a terrific RSR, and he couldn't wait to get out and sell. And so that's pretty exciting for us. So they're making some good hires. They have a pretty, they have some new people, they have some tenured people, they
Yeah.
have a nice mix there, and they seem like they're really taking care of their customers.
Yeah, that's great. And I think too, with the hiring RSRs that have a great attitude, sometimes that's more important maybe than the aptitude or some of the experience. If you think you can train to one thing,
Right.
but it's really hard to train a good attitude. So yeah.
Yeah, this guy's smiling. He wants to do his job, and so. But look, I talked to a lot of other RSRs there that had a similar attitude. And, were taking their customer service responsibility seriously,
Yeah.
taking care of their customers and selling. Right?
Right.
These guys were selling.
Great.
So, yeah, great group of guys
Well, that's good to
of
hear.
RSRs.
And so you had talked a little bit about a CARE program that they do inside the service department. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So they with their RSRs, they have a program that they call CARE, and it stands for connect with the customer, say good morning. These are the little things that people used to do
Right.
all the time, but sometimes get lost. Good morning, how are things going? Just don't drop and run.
Right.
Just drop your product off. Ask questions. How did it go last week? The R, report what you did. So if we changed their service up a little bit or did something different, make sure that we tell them what we did or how we
Right,
helped
if
them.
they're waiting for garments or something, all
Right.
kinds of things you can update them on. Yeah.
Let them know that we solved their problem for them, or that we were still working on it.
Sure.
Good communication. And then the E is express thanks. Say thank you for their business, and that's just a basic thing that they,
Right.
that they make sure that all of their RSRs do, and it goes a long ways. And
Yeah.
so that was, very interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, and you've talked about this before, like back to the basics is
Yeah.
not the worst thing that you could do. Sometimes you have to do that in order to kind of set the stage in order to fully move forward.
What we talked about it. I mean, these RSRs all had their shirts tucked in.
Yeah.
And that's back to the basics.
Yep.
And it reflects on the level of service. It just so happens they have very low loss business there. And they did some other things, that contributed to their lost business. But I think the level of service that their RSRs are providing to them, or providing to their customers, is definitely contributing to their success.
Well, and my experience there has been, and I'm sure this is not, they're not alone, I'm sure this isn't necessarily unique, but that downtown area, in particular downtown Vancouver area, it's a high demand clientele pretty much. And so it requires, if you want to keep servicing that, it requires a little bit of an extra touch.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about it is once you kind of lock in what that looks like for that higher demand one, it's easy to see how you can expand it even with somebody who doesn't necessarily require it,
Right.
but you're going a little bit above and beyond, and
For
you'll be able
sure.
to leverage that in the future.
For sure.
So, yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that they're doing well. I have a soft spot in my heart, of course.
Yeah, so those guys, we talked about, because when we were there last year, their lost business wasn't as good as it is today, and so we asked them about, some of the things that they're doing different today
Right.
than what they were, and a couple of things stood out to me. It sounds like they have a more collaborative growth meeting taking place today,
Okay.
where they were kind of doing a separate service meeting and a sales meeting. They embraced the suggestions that we made to them last time to make it more collaborative, and they admitted that this was a good idea. They've really benefited from it. And two, they decided to contact all of their customers, every one of them. Okay. So they divided up their customers, and they called them, and they asked them some specific questions, and they found out some little things that that they needed to do differently, or some big things that they
Right.
needed to do differently, problems that needed to be resolved. And they went through all of their customers, had their management team, and it wasn't just service people, it was service people, sales people, production people, engineering people, the GM, all were calling customers and getting
You'd
feed-
almost have to get, if you
Yep,
wanted to
yep.
get through them all, and
But-
and asking them all kind of the same.
Yeah, they had
few
a
questions.
template of the questions that they asked, but
Wow.
but what they really did that was impressive is based on those responses, they followed up to make sure that if the customer wanted a different drop-off point or a
Right.
different time or whatever it was, they were going to deal with it. And I hadn't heard of branches really proactively.
It's a huge investment of time. And,
Yeah. But it was good. They embraced it. They did it, and look, they have super low loss
Yeah,
business
great.
there, and so it paid off for them. And they said they found out all kinds of things.
Yeah, I bet.
And so I thought that was a great idea, and something that they did to help them. You combine that with a great service team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can hold on to your customers doing that.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing at that branch was this was the first time we had the SCs come into the meeting and introduce themselves to
Oh,
us.
great. Oh, good.
So we got about 5 minutes,
Uh-huh.
maybe 2 minutes from their SCs, and that was terrific to get to know these people. And they have built a really strong team there. And these guys figure out, between the sales team and the operations guys, they really work closely together. They're very aligned, and they figure out how to say yes to the customer, how to
Right.
figure out what to do. And so they're seeing some very impressive numbers there.
Right.
The GM said it's not too tough to grow when you sell more and you lose less, right?
Right. It sounds so simple on paper, but yeah.
but they're doing it there.
That's the formula,
We've
yeah.
built a really strong team, and so we have some new people on the team that come to us with some really great industry experience that we're able to leverage. It's
And
real-
local knowledge, I'm sure,
local
too, because
knowledge.
of that. Yeah.
and it's really paying off.
Yeah.
One of our new guys, I think, only been with us a few months, and he's one of our top SCs in the country,
Oh, wow.
or in North America.
Wow.
Excuse me, not so in North America, one of the top five SCs, and so it was fun to, get introduced to these
Absolutely.
folks and hear what they're doing.
So I'd say 3-peat for them, but it'd probably be a 5-peat. Do you think you'll go back there again next year?
I don't know if we need to go back to Vancouver
Okay.
again. We'll go back to Seattle again. Maybe Portland and Vancouver get a pass
Yeah.
for the next year. But I'll keep track of them. I mean,
Oh,
the
of course.
plant looked great. They had some quality issues before. That seems to be behind them. Quality looked good. So yeah, it's an exciting place.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the Vancouver folks to share their story a little bit more. I'm not doing them justice here, and so it'll be great for other GMs, other operations, to hear
Yeah.
what's happening in Vancouver and how these guys can. I mean, they've gone through a lot. I mean,
Yes, they have.
Building a new plant.
Moving from a place you've operated in for, and many even of the long tenured employees, the only place they had worked was
Right,
downtown
and you know
Vancouver.
better than
Yeah.
anybody. They had to change some business practices.
Yes.
They had to do
Yeah.
some things differently.
A lot
But
of new equipment, a lot of, ton of change.
they've hit their stride now,
Yeah,
and so
it's really exciting.
it's a success story.
Yeah. And it's a market that we deserve it, the market deserves it, they
Yeah.
deserve it, so it's really great to see. Well, we'll wait and see if they
Yeah.
get pulled out of the hat for you to visit again
Yeah.
next year. So you have one more set of branch visits this year,
Right.
and then you kind of go on hiatus for a little bit while we go through the budget season. Where are you heading to next?
So we're going to go back east. Going to go to Alexandria, to Lanham, up to Wilmington, and then to Rochester.
Rochester.
I think that's the order.
Yeah.
So
And Alexandria and Lanham have to be spitting distance
Right,
from each
they're-
other, I would imagine?
they're pretty close.
Okay, good.
Those three. I didn't go to Rochester last year, but I
Right.
did go to the other three branches, and so we need to check on their progress
Yeah.
and see how things are going there.
Well, thank you as always for your time, and I'm sure we'll kind of check in with you throughout budget
Great.
season and kind of get your thoughts on what 2026
Yeah,
is
we're
going
going
to
to
look
start
like.
planning. Who we want to go see next year.
Yeah, great.
So,
Sounds good. Thank you.
thanks.
That's all for today's episode of the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the world of Alsco uniforms, where we explore the growth and challenges in our industry. Tune in next time for more industry insights, growth strategies, and tales from the field. If you've enjoyed our time together, please leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to learn more about our services, visit us at alsco.com. From all of us here at the It Pays to Keep Clean podcast and Alsco Uniforms, thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay clean, and we'll see you in the next episode.